Welcome to the morning after week 13, as it's still barely morning here. I can still get this in. Playoff preview this week. Next week, on week after, it'll probably be like all fantasy team and fantasy honors, some combination of that. Since I do the playoff preview this week, I'll get right to the action and get to it quickly. First of all, this week we had a play-in game. Winner of the Gargoyles and Horn Dogs would be in. Loser would be out, barring a tie. Gargoyles took down the Horn Dogs handily, 86-49. And another winner is in game, and loser might get in. The Black Dingoes squeaked by the Cardinals, 69.5-68. If there's a stat correction on Melvin Gordon where he gets another yard, that it end up in a tie. Won't change how the playoffs play out, though. Another heartbreaking loss for me, another close one. But it is what it is. Deshaun Watson was awesome against Patriots, which I didn't expect. Jameis had a great first half, and then they didn't do a whole heck of a lot in the second because they had a big lead. He didn't throw a touchdown. So, yeah, another loss this week. So 4 in a row for the Cardinals. Cardinals, would they still sneak in, but would they back into the playoffs? They would need some help. First of all, the help came from the Little Big Men as they take down the Minotaurs 70-48.5. Dak Prescott with another good game. Not really, in reality, not a good game. Dak did not have a good game. But he had a good fantasy game, which is what matters. That'll be a theme in another one here. Minotaurs were led by the Tampa defense, which has played really well the last couple of weeks. Otherwise, the Cardinals would need help from Bites' Badgers, and they got it. 79.5-57. Kyle Allen also had a terrible game this week. In reality, good fantasy week, 20.5 points. Jared Goff led the Bruisers with 18. He had a very good week. Bites and Chad will be sending you fruitcake for holiday for helping me get in. And Bites, I'm not going to lie to you, when I saw that you didn't start Freeman's, Devontae, and Royce, I was quite disappointed. Like, what is he doing starting Peterson and Nyheim Hines? Little did I know, and the way my year's going, maybe I should not think that Nyheim Hines had a touchdown, and Peterson had, I think he had a touchdown too. He definitely had 100 yards, so kind of a crazy day there. Back to the action. Price is Right continued their terrible luck as their season ends in the worst record in the league. Might be 2 years in a row, Tim. Rodgers We Trust, 51.5-50.5 after Sony Michel was unable to do pretty much anything on Sunday night. Mahomes disappointed with 14.5 points. Miles Sanders picking it up here at the end of the year for Rodgers We Trust. And the TK Bucks did nail down the number 1 seed thanks to a late Dalvin Cook touchdown on Monday night, or an early Dalvin Cook touchdown. Then an injury, which we'll talk about again in a little bit. Devontae Parker with 20.5 points as he takes down Dr. Dangerous in his inaugural campaign, 80.5-75. As for the prize money, most points in the year, the Bucks had 998. Did not become the third team ever to score 1,000. They had 77 points per week and earns 90. The most high point wins this year had with 4 went to Bernie's Bruisers. He wins $10. Kent, what did it say 100 before? So I apologize. I forgot to have the high points in there. So that would have been 10 off. So that's why I did 100 or 90 and 10. So I apologize for my oversight on that. And now we're going to get on to the playoff preview right here. The first 2, the teams that received a bye and received at least $75 in Rodgers We Trust, who are 1-1 in the playoffs. They've never made a Super Bowl, also never won an OK Bowl. Strengths, very good receiving core. The 4th, 5th, and 8th receivers this year, and Mike Evans, DJ Chark, and Cooper Kupp. Also, Keenan Allen on the bench is not bad. Number 1 running back and the overall number 1 flex play of Christian McCaffrey. Weaknesses, Kyler Murray, kind of boomer bust, number 12 quarterback, but that's because of the bust days in there. When he's on, and he's very good. Flex is kind of questionable. Miles Sanders with number 28 running back. However, he has come on, as I mentioned earlier, although it does look like Jordan Howard will be back, which might make that a little bit more tenuous at best. Next up, the number 1 seed, the TK's Bucks, 3-0 in the playoffs, and they're only year making it. They won the Super Bowl last year, and they are defending champ, looking to become only the 3rd team to ever go back-to-back. First 2 were me, but we will see how that goes for the Bucks. Number 1 overall player in fantasy and a very scary player to play against. Think Mahomes times maybe 2 this year. Lamar Jackson. Number 2 and number 7 running backs and Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb. And the number 2 defense with the Niners. Weaknesses is flex. The 49er running backs, if you pick the right one, good luck. That's good. We have Mostert and Coleman. If it's Breda, tough luck there. He's on a different team who did not make the playoffs. Bernie's Bruisers. Injuries to Cook and Thielen might be a problem. I would think Thielen will eventually play. Dalvin Cook, yeah, we'll see. He says he's okay. James Conner, they said the same thing too, and that's been about 4 weeks. They're 3-4 weeks now. Number 2 and 3 receivers, Tyler Boyd and Robert Woods, both coming on a little bit lately, but still a little questionable there. And then we have an interesting game. The Gargoyles, who are 0-7 in the playoffs in their 15th year in the league, and the 3-time OK Bowl champs, will take on the Black Dingoes, who are 0-3 in their 10th year in the league and 1-time OK Bowl champs. One of you has to win, I think. Pretty positive. You have to win this one. Somebody does. Both teams are kind of coming on at the end of the year. History-wise, not the best. But someone's going to win. Gargoyles' strengths, number 1 receiver in Chris Godwin, number 1 kicker in Will Lutz. Weaknesses, Will Fuller, number 42 receiver. There's a complete boomer bust guy, though. I mean, if he's on, he could have easily 16, 18 points. He also could pull a hamstring. But the Texans kind of, their offense hasn't been clicking too much lately. But kind of it's a hit or miss there. Also, as running back 2/flex, David Montgomery and Devin Singletary. Can be very good, and they've both been playing better lately. Just not really rated too high. 15, I think, is Montgomery, which is okay. And Singletary is like the 33rd running back, but I think it's mostly because of injury. So they have some upside there and actually possibly being a strength. Black Dingo strength, number 2 quarterback in the league, Deshaun Watson, who is very scary as well. He's putting up Mahomes' last year numbers, also with more running threat. And the number 6 and 7 receiver in Amari Cooper and Marvin Jones. Surprisingly, I did not think that Marvin Jones was that good this year, and he was having a good year, but that's real good. Weaknesses, his running backs, Le'Veon Bell, Joe Mixon, and LaShawn McCoy. Bigger names than they've produced. I think they're like the 14th, 15th, and 30th running backs. Chiefs, you never know, especially if Damian Williams is back. Jets have really disappointed. Never know what you're going to get there. And also another weakness is Randall Cobb's. His wide receiver 3, whether it be Cobb or Cooks or Watkins, none of them have really produced that much this year. And finally, the last slide of the week. The Little Big Men, who are 5-2 in the playoffs, they're a 2-time champ. Ironically enough for the Little Big Men, if they advance and they win a game, they tend to win the whole Super Bowl. So if, Chad, you win this week, I might as well start engraving your name there. It's win one or bust for the Little Big Men. Strengths, number 3 quarterback, Dak Prescott. Number 10 and number 11 running backs, and Carson and Gurley, and Tyreek Hill, who's not rated that high at receiver, but he is having almost 8 points per week due to the injury. Weaknesses is number 57 receiver is Mike Williams. Bound to score a touchdown eventually. But the Chargers just haven't played very well. And the number 28 defense in the Packers. Against myself, the 27-12 playoff record and an 8-time champion. The number 5-6 quarterback in Winston and Allen. Melvin Gordon, due to the holdout and a little bit of struggles early on, 7.2 points per week, and a little bit better than that lately, actually. Those first couple weeks drug him down. And number 3 defense in the Pittsburgh defense. Weaknesses is Connor and Julio injuries, and the number 13 kicker in Jason Myers. When Connor and Julio play, pretty good. When they don't, DJ Moore also has been coming on. John Brown's been good, so it's like the number 11, 13, and 18 kicker and receiver, so decent. Playing a little better lately, especially with Julio there. Doesn't score touchdowns though lately. So we'll see on that one. And also my predictions at the start of the year were the Bucks to win their division, check. In Rodgers We Trust to win their division, check. And myself to win the division, it didn't, but it did make the playoffs. So did get those kind of right, 2 out of 3, and it did make the playoffs. So my best prediction year possibly ever. So good luck to everyone this week, of course, not to Chad. So we will get back next week and see the Fantasy Honors and All Fantasy team. And also keep up in the consolation round to win the cherished Jim Shavina Consolation Memorial Belt for 7th place. This year we have a guy who has won it. Griff is the defending OK Bowl champ, so we'll see. And then next week, God help you, Reisner, if you lose to Griff. You're not going to hear the end of it if it's his first playoff win. So best of luck, everybody, and